We live in a disposable age where things are conveniently made to be used a single time and then thrown away. More than 120 billion disposable diapers are used every year. 100 million plastic bottles are produced each day. 800 tons of plastic tableware are made every hour. And more than 1 trillion plastic bags are used in just 1 year. But disposable doesn't mean that plastic magically disappears. Every year, millions of tons of plastic end up in our landfills, rivers, and oceans. Our environment is not disposable. It slowly accumulates everything we discard, and every single bit of plastic ever made is still there. Reduce, reuse, recycle, rethink.
So we really think about what we eat, if we're healthy, etc. But in the textile industry, this was not a common thing to do. It used to be a couple of years ago in China that you could really go to certain cities which were famous for production of textiles. And you could see the trends of the next year's colors, the fashion colors. You could see in the rivers in China, because as you see in the top photo, the rivers would literally become that color. Our CEO, she's a Dutch lady living in China for 20 years already. She really wanted to change something and change the way people in the industry were thinking about how to produce and where to produce and with who to produce. Let me skip to the next slide. So what we really do is we make from plastic bottles, PET, we make garments and other textile products. I will pass some products on so you can feel it. We take the plastic bottles, we shred them up into flakes, and we clean them. Maybe if you've been to, I believe, Hall 5, you see a very nice machine that takes out all the impurities. And with these flakes, we distill them back to the granules. And these granules, they have to be of a very high purity. Since in the past, people, maybe you've heard about it, but they used to make things like fleece jackets, etc., from these recycled bottles already. But they were not able to make the high quality yarns, the very thin yarns that, for instance, my suit is made of. We combine these yarns that we pull from the pellets with cotton. One of the shirts is a cotton blend, and the other one is 100% polyester. And we treat these yarns with breathable finishes. I won't be able to say the name, of course, but one of the biggest sports brands has the very breathable shirts made from polyester. Well, we can give the same treatments to our fabrics, so it's really light, comfortable, and easy to wear and to wicker moisture. So our company is a Dutch-owned company, but based in, headquarters in Shanghai, where I'm also based. And right now we just opened our office here in Malaysia half a year ago. And in Holland we have an office and started in the US about a year ago. And really trying to convince people, well, obviously get customers, but convince people that we can do it in a different way and a different way of thinking. And we don't have to use virgin polyester because there's already so much plastic around that we can reuse this. It's not only important, the environment is very important, but that's not the only thing. The most important thing, well, not the most, but one of the very important things is the people that are actually behind the product. The way you produce and the labor circumstances and obviously salary and secondary labor qualities. Our factories are obviously according all the international standards, but we try to go beyond this. So what kind of products do we make? Just a quick recap on the types of products. We make obviously garments. We try to focus on corporate uniforms. Because obviously a lot of companies are trying to become green and their uniforms are often the face of the company. So in this way, they can really also target their marketing and branding towards towards their customers again, and really show that they trying to do the right thing. Next step, well, we do homeware. Obviously, we make hotel. Well, we can do entire hotel interiors. So, for instance, from the pillows in the hotels to the bed linens, to curtains, carpet. Well, the carpet doesn't come from us, but the carpets were recycled already for a long time. And if you have a full hotel, 500 rooms, you can get up to 10 million bottles in one hotel. So that's a lot of bottles, of course. The school uniforms I'll get back to later. What we're going to do with the pillow, we just developed a very nice pillow. It feels like it's a down pillow. So we made we developed a hollow fiber, which we silicone coated. And in this way it really feels like down, but it recycles 82 plastic bottles. And obviously we're going to market this, but we're going to put this into a Kickstarter soon and try to get it directly to the people so people can really directly buy it, since we normally only do B2B business. Same for hotels, counts for hospitals. We can obviously do all the curtains there, etc. And we also make antibacterial uniforms, etc. to get hospitals green as well. Same for fire retardant clothing and basically any treatment that can be given to fabrics. So this is one of my passion projects. And within the company, we're trying to go beyond a product. So we're trying to really develop a full concept and try to make as big of an impact as we can make. And with this project, we developed a non-woven bag. So basically, the standard shopping bag or the bags that you get handed out here. But we start working together with one of the larger supermarket chains in Holland. And hopefully in a few months, we're going to launch a project where we use a deposit system, that's the word. A deposit system where people pay, for instance, let's say $2, and when they bring the bag back, they get $1 back. And with these bags, we pick them up again, we shred them in Rotterdam, and we clean it up, we ship it back to our factories. And from there, we reuse it into the same bag again. So really a zero waste solution. And the timing seems to be right. By 2020, plastic bags will be banned in Europe. And Holland has the goal to do this by 2016 already. I know here in Malaysia, I believe you have 1 day without plastic bags, right? So this is a very good step. And hopefully with this solution we can also get into the Malaysian market to really reduce the plastic bags, because it's a very terrible thing, I think, that there's so many plastic bags everywhere. And I believe in Rwanda, they were actually the first country to totally ban all plastic bags. So we wanted to take it one step further again. And we went to Singapore, to Marina Bay Sands, together with Ocean Recovery. And together with them, we said, okay, you're using so many bottles every day. They have 30,000 bottles coming from their hotel alone. So 30,000 bottles a day, that's a lot of bottles that have to go somewhere, and they didn't know where they went. So they wanted to know where they went. And so we started this program where they said, okay, we'll give you the bottles, and the value of the plastic of the bottles, because plastic has value, of course, that's world market value. And from this value, we will donate this into a fund where we pay local fishermen to take out plastic out of the ocean. So there we create jobs again. And with these jobs, they take out the plastic. This plastic, unfortunately, we cannot use because the purity of the plastic. And if plastic stays in the ocean too long, the esters break down, so it won't be strong enough to make the filament yarns anymore. But there's a lot of other companies that can do a lot of things with this. So we work together with insulation companies that compress it into insulation tiles and for under tiling, this kind of things. Let me see. Oh wait, one more thing I have to say here, and that counts for everything we do, for our logistics, because that's another big part, of course, because you're shipping waste over the world, all over the world, and you have to think about the carbon footprint of the logistics as well. So this is actually quite interesting, which I never thought about before I started this job. But with our logistics, because we're based in China and all these containers are going out of China to Europe or even to Malaysia, when the ships go back, they actually pump in water into the hull of the ship to make it more heavy, to make it more efficient. So shipping back waste is actually not increasing the carbon footprint. Of course, shipping the products themselves still has a carbon footprint, but we're trying to reduce this with everything we do as well. So this is, by the way, the CEO of the company, the lady on the right side, and on the left side is Professor Ashok Khosla from Tara in India. And Tara developed something very interesting. It's in India, of course, there's many women that are very reliant on income from hand looming. And these are really the poorest of the poor in the world, actually. Huh? But they still have to sustain, on average, per hand loom, 8 people to eat from, which is often they don't make enough money to actually sustain these people and have enough money to buy the food that they need to buy. So when they start looking into the hand looming, they found that if you combine it with polyesters, then actually you reduce the cost of the fabrics by a lot. It becomes stronger and well, has all other elements where it can be used. So what we did, we start talking to them and say, okay, how can we make these women not only make more money for them, but also start recycling. So we started providing them now in test cases with our yarns, and we developed new fabrics. For instance, a silk polyester blend, which can be used for wedding gowns or for throw pillows, this kind of things. And with this, we intend to increase their salaries with at least 60%, but hopefully more. So, and creating new jobs, of course, etc. And one of the bigger companies, which name I can unfortunately not say right now, they already agreed to start using their fabrics in their homewares. So this can be a very big project, and hopefully we can create a lot of jobs like this. And at the same time, having the poorest people in the world also able to recycle and to influence their own surroundings. Because what we're trying to always do is to create a local solution for a local problem. So in this case, also the waste is collected in India, so they really clean up their own surroundings at the same time. So the next step is not only the product, but also how are we going to do it in the future? Huh? And obviously, education is a very big part of this, because these kids are going to be our consumers for hopefully for the rest of their lives. So we wanted to target school uniforms. So we started first with schools in Shanghai and Singapore. And interesting thing was that these kids that start wearing the school uniforms in Singapore, their parents started, well, not complaining, but they started making remarks like, all right, my kid is now being educated that they have to recycle, and their uniforms are recycled. But they come home and they say, Mom, why aren't you wearing anything recycled? So yeah, that's something we have to still work on to getting into that market, of course, that they have it available. But it's interesting that actually the kids are starting to educate their parents on recycling. Let me see, I have another video here. But maybe I can end with that. Yeah, I'll end with the educational video what we developed for India. This is another project where these kids actually, well, they grow fast, of course, huh? And kids will wear a uniform for 1 year, but they cannot wear a uniform for the rest of their lives, of course, because they're growing really fast. And so we set up together with a company, well, an NGO in China. We set up a system where these kids can directly donate to their counterparts, the younger counterparts in orphanages around, etc. So they really get involved in not only recycling, but also the reuse of the products, and to really keep everything into the loop, and yeah, keep it going. So with this, I'd like to end, and I'll put on the last video. Holland, we have a Dutch version.
We use a lot of plastic bottles for soda, juice, water, and almost any drink we buy at the store. In fact, we make so many every day that if we lined them up in 1.5 days, we would have enough bottles to go around the world. And in less than 2 weeks, we would have enough to reach the moon. The big problem with this is that many of them will end up in our rivers and oceans. That's a terrible thing because fish and birds eat the plastic thinking it's food, and they get very sick and die. But there is a way to solve this problem. It's called recycling. Recycling means that we use old things to make new things rather than just throwing them away. So instead of putting a used bottle in the trash, you put it in a special recycling bin. Then the old bottles are taken to a place called the recycling plant, where they clean and cut the bottles into very tiny pieces and melt them. After that, they can use this plastic to make a lot of amazing things. Can you believe that even your school uniform can be made from used plastic bottles? For example, a shirt can be made with 7 bottles, a pair of pants with 8, a jacket with 12, and a sweater with 17. So if all the uniforms in a school with 1,000 kids are made with these special fabrics, 40,000 bottles are being reduced instead of polluting the environment. But to do this, we need your help. Next time you finish a juice or a soda, look for a recycling bin with this sign. If you can't find one, explain to your teacher or parents the importance of recycling and ask them to put a special bin out for plastic bottles. Maybe they don't know about all the cool stuff that can be done with old bottles when you recycle them.
So, thank you very much for the attention. If there's any questions, please come to me or ladies over there. And we actually in Malaysia we have a special product with green hijabs, so that's might be something nice. So thank you very much, and have a good Saturday weekend.
Can you recycle back the 100% polyester shirt that you've made, or?
Yes, we can. 100% polyester we can fully recycle back. And we just started a partnership with a very good Japanese company that can actually recycle up to, I believe, 80% polyester. So even if you have 20% cotton or other mixes in, they're able to take it out and to recycle it back into into our pellets. Yeah.
Regardless of the color, the dye doesn't have an effect on it, or?
This is taken out in the third step, the distillation, the cleaning up of the pellets. And so this shouldn't be a problem in this case.
Okay, one question. Maybe you can give the difference in the cost of production between the one that they didn't use the recycled product and then they...
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So, of course, this is a question we always get. What is the price? That's what everyone wants to know. Textile industry is a volume market. So, when you have a production, you need to run every time minimum orders, and they have the bigger the orders, the lower the prices. Overall, we're not that big yet. Our prices are at the same price level, but we hope by 2015 that we can actually get a price that's equal or hopefully lower than non-recycled. And but right now in the finished garments, it's about 10% more expensive still.
What differentiates from normal plastic bags and plastic bottles to become your products?
Sorry, can you?
What differentiates normal plastic bags and plastic bottles which become your product? Why
we can't use plastic bags, unfortunately, for the normal plastic bags for our products. But sorry, the question was to what differentiates our product with non-recycled? Or-
What differentiates the plastic bags that can't be used and the plastic bottles that are used?
It's a different plastic type. So even with the bags right now, the non-woven bags, it sounds very nice, but the problem is that most of the bags, if I had to estimate, over 90%, actually has a PVC coating in it. And the PVC coating is is non-recyclable, and it actually mixes up plastic. So even if you want to recycle it, you cannot separate it anymore. And in our bags, the coatings are actually the inside coating is a recycled PE coating. Yeah.
So you mean that the purity of the plastic itself need to be considered before you can make some products?
Well, for the recycling process itself, it goes for all industries, I guess. As soon as you start mixing up different types of plastics, then it makes it way more difficult to recycle. But not even plastics, but even like Tetra Pak, for instance. Hey, you have the paper and you have the plastic coatings in it, and this makes it for a very difficult recycling process.
Currently, how much of plastics are you all recycling or are you all collecting? And is it just like 2-3%, or is it?
How much is recycled right now, you mean? Or
Yeah, that you all are recycling and collecting, because so much is produced right now. What percentage is being recycled?
everything what we do is 100% post-consumer recycled. So we don't use any...
Yeah, so that is about 2% of the overall plastics that are...
from what our company produces?
Yeah.
I would say right now it's about... well, we have from... because we were a textile company before already. But I would say 50% right now is stepped over to recycled, especially for the Dutch companies, and they did a lot of test cases for their consumers. And in Holland, people really decide I want to buy recycled. And and I hope, of course, for Malaysia, people make the same kind of decisions on their products. Does that answer your question? Or?
I wish to know if the process of making this kind of fabric produce more carbon dioxide or got any effect to the environment.
Good question. I don't know the numbers by heart, but I believe that we per shirt we save about 5 liters of water in using recycled instead of virgin, and we reduce the carbon footprint, I believe, by 80% in our production in comparison to the virgin polyester.
How about the chemical usage?
All the chemicals used in... well, it's actually one point what is kind of tricky for us, is we cannot produce optical white shirts. And the only reason is that you have to bleach shirts to make them optical white. We're working on new ways, but if you start bleaching your shirt that's recycled, then you're polluting at the same time. So we refuse to do optical white for this reason. So yeah, really all the chemicals that we use have to be environmental friendly. And we're trying now to together with a big company to get microbe-based bleach. But if you don't think about everything, then you're still not doing the right thing, and then you're just doing it for the brand or etc. So it has to be all environmental friendly. Yeah.